Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. It happens every year around here. People just assume a new head coach will come into Berea, will smoothly find himself in a battle for the playoffs. Well, you forgot about things like the linebackers, even though we've been talking about them for over a month. Then there's the OIC factor, only in Cleveland. 3 days on the job and Cleveland is dealing with injuries. That's when the coach will ask himself, all right, when do we have to change quarterbacks? It's the OIC factor. It never goes away. We've got Mary Kay Cabot here. More Sports and Les Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine, it's a Thursday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine. Almost into our 25th year of broadcasting on a nightly basis. Mary Kay Cabot is here from cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. And Mary Kay, anybody get hurt today? Anybody, any fights? Anything that we don't know about or just will assume will happen?
Johnson, the very key nickel cornerback, we found out earlier today, has a lacerated liver. So yes, it was another day, another injury for the Browns, and it's really unfortunate that that they've had a couple of injuries in this first week that have been a little bit of a setback. But Myles Garrett was back on the good side.
Well, I mentioned in the commentary a few moments ago that you just assume everything's going to fly right. You get a new coach and you say, okay, here's what you do. You do this, this, and this. Oh, yeah, I forgot. We're going to get a linebacker injured. We're going to, in fact, not only get a linebacker injured, but have it done with Nick Chubb and that whole thing. That obviously it wasn't done on purpose, but doesn't it make you think, well, of course, if it's going to happen in Cleveland, that would be the place to have it?
Yeah, it was kind of a bizarre sequence of events to see what happened with Nick Chubb going down, with the concussion, and he's going to be out for a few more days, and the way that happened with the horse collar tackle with Mack Wilson there. And then for the very next day, for Mack Wilson to be lost potentially for the season with a knee injury, it was just a really, really weird sequence of events. But I guess if with this COVID marred offseason, I guess you had to expect that there were going to be some injuries and some things that happened early on that you might not have expected.
No, but they're happening to Cleveland with no problem. The other teams don't have a problem, it seems.
No, other teams are having injuries. We've heard of a lot of, there's been ACLs. There have been, Gerald McCoy of the Cowboys blew out a quad. There have been injuries, especially some of these soft tissue injuries, and they were to be expected.
All right. Is part of it because the off-season training was so different than it's been before? You did late signings, the uniqueness of this season. Is that partly to blame for some of those injuries like that?
I think so. I think that, not doing any football activity, for so long and then just, getting right back into it. I do think that is a factor. But, it's also just football. I mean,
yeah.
When you put the pads on, you hear about these injuries all around the league, that those first couple of days in pads, the risk of injury is very, very high. And it's just something that every team has to deal with.
All right, let's talk about what you started to talk about. Browns cornerback Kevin Johnson hospitalized with lacerated liver. That does not sound good, even though there's some alliteration that the L's, the lacerated and liver, seem to go good on a poetic situation. But that sounds like an ugly thing to happen.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate in so many ways because, of course, it's serious and it's scary for something like this to happen. And fortunately, there's just such good medicine in this city, and university hospitals are so good that, of course, they figured this out right away with Kevin Johnson. And it's going to take a few days to figure out exactly how long he's going to be out and what the prognosis is going to be on this. But it's definitely not something to mess around with, and it could be an extended period of time.
All right, Myles Garrett returned to practice after missing some time with a hamstring injury. Does that bother you that, number one, that he's injured at all, but a hamstring injury is something that stays with you a long, long time? And if it was some different player, would he not have been off for as much time as Myles will be off? In other words, they're being more careful with him than it would be some average player.
Yes, I think so. I think that they're being very, very careful with their starters. They're being very careful with their players who have a little bit of an injury history or some soft tissue history in the past. And, they've got it down to a science. I mean, they really literally are so plugged in and dialed into the exercise science and the analytics of all this. And they know exactly what they want to do with each player. Jarvis Landry's on a schedule, Carl Joseph's on a schedule. So, this was part of just being extra, extra careful with Myles.
All right, so with Myles, nothing to worry about at this point. But what bothers me is the hamstring muscle, because those, you think you have it down pat and you don't, because they get tweaked so easily.
Yes, that's true. And a lot of times, it's worse for the players like the cornerbacks that have to go sprinting downfield. And as we saw last year, Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams both missed the first 4 games of the season. That was pretty tough. So a lot of times the hamstrings, you have more to worry about when it's a guy that has to go on a full out sprint and chase after a speedy receiver. But even in the case of Myles, it's a key injury for him because he needs his speed and explosiveness to get to the quarterback.
All right, what updates do you have on the wide receivers, Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry?
Well, they both practiced today, and that was good. It was good to see both of those guys out there. Yesterday, neither of them were in practice in the team drills. And, it was just a situation where people were like, oh, the offense doesn't look very good and Baker doesn't look very sharp. And you have to take that with a grain of salt. He's obviously going to look a lot better when Odell and Jarvis are in there. And today, Odell went down for a very deep ball, 50-plus yards, leaped up over 2 defenders, grabbed it, and it was just an Odell kind of play. He just, showed a little swagger and attitude afterwards. It was probably the play of the day. And it just basically was a testament to the fact that, the outlook looks bright.
Well, it's about time he did something.
Yeah, they have not connected well on their deep balls so far in this practice, so it was good to see one. On another one, I saw Baker far overthrow Odell. That was on the day that it was pouring rain, and then Denzel Ward picked it off. So it was good to see them connect, and I think there will be more where that came from.
Mary Kay, you've seen almost every throw out there the last couple of years with Baker Mayfield. Is there not the delivery necessarily, but the arc of the ball coming out of his hand, or are you noticing anything different that makes him look stronger, makes him look like he understands more of what's out there, or are we still feeling it around for a while?
Well, he's still coming up the learning curve in this new offense, so he's not playing as fast as he will. I mean, think about this. He was in pads for 3 straight days, and they put that out on the grass for the first time in those 3 practices. So it's not going to be a well-oiled machine just yet. But you can see some really, really encouraging things. His footwork looks good. And he really seems to know exactly what he's doing. He's got a lot of control over his feet. I mean, there's a plan there, and it's translating. I do think it's translating into a better football. I think that there'll be more velocity, more speed on the ball, and hopefully more accuracy once he starts to play with a little bit more swagger and those kinds of things. So I think it looks good so far.
All right, so when he comes out at the beginning of practice, although he's probably there before everybody else, what's the look? What's the demeanor of him? Does he look like he's in control? Is the body weight that was a problem last year, is that gone? Does he just look better, or doesn't it matter in his case?
I do think that he looks, a little bit leaner and meaner. He looks like he's in better shape. He really does. And he is in a lot better shape. We saw all over his social media all offseason just how hard he worked on that. And I think it's good. I don't think he lost 20 pounds or anything like that. I don't think it was a huge, huge weight loss. But I think he really tightened everything up, added some muscle, and he just looks like he's more comfortable in his own skin now. And he had a nice scramble today for a first down, And they want him to be able to do more of that. They want more boots, more rollouts, and for him to be able to just pull the ball in and run it when he needs to.
Now, there's no hitting going on at that point, is it?
No, no hitting. And that's the weird part about this camp, is that the quarterbacks will not have any threat of getting hit until they show up in Baltimore for the very first game. And that is just a really odd way to start your season.
Yeah, does that sound right or not? I mean, you're never going to know until it happens, but it seems to me you need to take a hit just to feel what taking the hit is like.
Well, that's just the way it is. And I can't imagine that Kevin Stefanski is going to stray from that and decide that he'll have a practice where you're allowed to hit the quarterback. I mean, that would be very unorthodox. I can't imagine that he'll do it, but I mean, maybe they'll ramp it up somehow so that the first time, Jedrick Wills has to experience, really truly holding someone off and not turning around and seeing his quarterback on the ground. You don't want that to happen necessarily in Baltimore in the opener, but I mean, that's pretty much the way it is right now.
Case Keenum talked to the media yesterday. It almost looks like, I hate to get over happy on these things, but it looks like that's the perfect move for this team, to have a guy like Keenum there, as opposed to what the other three teams in the division have backing up. I mean, the Browns are set that if they have an injury to Baker Mayfield, they at least have a chance to win the game, as opposed to putting something together and hope you can win the game if one of the other three guys for the other teams is injured.
Yeah, I think so. I think they have a really, really good backup situation, especially because the head coach is incredibly comfortable with him. Kevin Stefanski, when he was Case Keenum's quarterbacks coach in 2017, Case went 11-3 that year in this offense and took them to the NFC Championship game. And it was kind of a magical season when he stepped in there for Sam Bradford. So he's got a lot of confidence in this scheme. Kevin Stefanski has a lot of confidence in him. And in the event he needs to go to him for any reason, they will not hesitate to do that.
216-575-0403 is the number to call if you'd like to say, hey, Mary Kay. You could do that. You can email us during the show, and that would be reallesslevine@gmail.com. If we also can be followed on Facebook. We put up a question in the morning. You answer it all day long, and then we'll check it out during the show from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. New content is posted each and every day. More Sports and Les Levine with Mary Kay Cabot is powered by cleveland.com, and we'll be back in a moment.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Lesmerises, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season. Become an Ohio State Tech subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
Tri-C is here for you. Now more than ever, you need a post-secondary education. So I encourage you to start your journey here at Tri-C. The majority of fall classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your four-year plans have changed, Tri-C is where futures begin.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
I think it goes right back to how we train them, and it goes right back to our coaching philosophy and everything we're trying to do in this building, everything we've set out to do. Plan laid out by Coach Stefanski and Andrew Berry. We're approaching everything one day at a time. So it really is. It's next play's the best play, and we're coaching them that way, and we're expecting them to go fast, be physical, and play so that we can figure out who can learn. And of course, there's times where the lights are going to come on and there's noise in the stadium. Now this year, I don't know if it'll be as much noise, it might be pumped in noise, but we're going one day at a time and we're letting them earn it. But there is in our room, they've put themselves physically in a position to have a chance by having a great offseason. And so far they are shedding and running to the ball. And we're just going to leave it at that. And we're going to compete, and we're going to let the best man win. And then as coaches, we're going to see what they can do, which we're starting to learn. I won't share all that right now. And then we'll put them in a position to be successful.
Tony Grossi, your line is open, and this will be our last question for Coach Tarver.
Jason, just to clarify, it sounds like everyone's cross-training for every position. And could you say that you might not know who the three guys out there or the two guys are out there to start the Baltimore game until right up until that work week?
We got, there are guys playing specific positions. Like we've mentioned on here, BJ Goodson is in front of the huddle the most and has done a great job. So we know a little bit more of how that's going to roll. But there's a solid four guys with Sione, Tay, Jacob, and BJ that are all rolling in and have a chance, and they're competing. So, but again, we'll use them in certain situations. There's certain things that they do well. So some of that we'll see as we go through, and we still got a long time in camp. I mean, it's not as long as a normal camp, but we have some weeks here, and most of the scheme's in. And we'll see how they keep progressing. If they keep going like we are, we feel like we got a group that will do the things we just talked about.
All right, let me quote somebody. There isn't much time, Mary Kay. I don't care what they're saying. There isn't much time to get a linebacker crew together. And Tim May at covering Ohio State for so many years, let me digress. They're talking about plenty of time. If they don't know who their starting linebackers are now, they're never going to know.
Well, I think they thought they knew. I think they had a pretty good idea that it was Mack Wilson at the weak side, Sione Takitaki on the strong side, and BJ Goodson in the middle, until, of course, Mack Wilson went down with the hyperextended left knee that could require season-ending surgery. He's going to have a second opinion on this. That's probably going to take a couple of weeks. Even if he doesn't have to have surgery, he could miss half the season. Yeah. So they really do have to go to plan B. They're bringing in a couple of different linebackers. They're going to try some guys out, and they're going to have to do the best they can to work with what they have. But the injury definitely threw a monkey wrench into the plans.
Is there something Somebody told me around the NFL they've just lowered the linebacking, just the value of the linebackers. Is that they don't care as much? Is that possible?
Well, it's the NFL. It's it's cyclical. It changes all the time. And right now, a lot of times there are only two linebackers on the field, and that's probably what a lot of people are talking about. Is that it's many times you just don't have those three guys out there, and in some cases there used to be four. A lot of people play the 3-4, but in some cases now there's two linebackers, and a lot of times I look out there. And the Browns only do have two. So I think that's what you're talking about with the devaluing of the position.
When the injury the other day to Nick Chubb, when the play happened, what was the on the field? Was it like a balloon? The air of a balloon went out, or was it what happened out there, or were people saying, well, that's what happens in football? What was actually happening on the sideline and on the field?
Well, it happened kind of fast. I mean, before too long, Nick was walking off the field. It wasn't one of these situations where, he was down on the field for a while and people were hovered over him and nobody knew what was wrong with him. It wasn't like that. I mean, he got up and then he walked into the field house with a trainer, and because his head hit the ground, after that horse collar tackle, they did the necessary tests. But we did talk to Stump Mitchell today, the running backs coach. He says that Nick Chubb is back in meetings. He's participating. He's not having any symptoms or headaches or anything like that. So he probably will be back out there pretty soon. Once again, they will err on the side of caution.
How do you get a roughhousing tackle in the second day of practice? How does it against the best runner and one of the best runners in football? How does that happen? Does a guy just not know where he is on the field? Does he not know who's out there with him? How does that happen?
I think it was a function of maybe just being a little bit overzealous, a little overexcited in the first day in pads. And also, Mack Wilson has been very vocal about how he feels that the linebacking core has been disrespected. They're overlooked. Nobody thinks they're any good. And therefore, I think he's got a chip on his shoulder and he wants to prove some things. And I just think he got a little bit over his head, and he made a grave error, and it was costly, and hopefully there will be no lingering effects for Nick Chubb.
I mean, we haven't talked too much, at least on this show we haven't, but the special teams, the kicking game, and they brought in 4 kickers today, right?
I think it was yesterday that they did. Yes, but these tryouts that that they sometimes come to light are things that are very routine in the NFL. They bring people in whenever they can to keep their lists going.
All right. So in other words, they do that, and then somebody gets hurt in week 8. They've got that list already.
Yes, and things are different now because of COVID. I mean, you can't just bring a guy in. You can't just throw somebody on a plane and have him here. You have to go through certain protocols. They have to be tested a number of times before they can come in for a tryout. So everything is just a little bit different than it was in the past.
What else do you notice is different in camp this year as opposed to any other year?
Well, the fans not being there is the most disappointing thing. I mean, you see one of these big plays that Odell had today where he goes up and catches that great deep ball, and there's just no roar of the crowd. And that players get fired up by things like that too. So I'm sure that they miss the fans. That's the number one thing. And then as far as we're concerned, we're behind, a fence over here, and we can barely see when we're in certain places, and it's very restrictive. And they're being very careful. They're doing everything they can to make sure their players are safe, and good for them for that. But it's made for a very challenging camp to cover.
But from your point of view, from the media point of view, they're doing as well as they could under the circumstances?
Yes, they're doing a really, really nice job with everything. They're going the extra mile to make sure that they can provide us with photos and video and different things like that, and transcripts and Zoom calls. So from that standpoint, they are doing everything that they can, but their hands are tied because of COVID with where we can stand and things like that. But they are making the best of it for us.
216-575-0403 is the number to call Mary Kay Cabot, the plain dealer in cleveland.com. You can dial her up at 216-575-0403. Northeast Factory Direct, East, West, and South. They've got locations plus the website you want to check out with the guaranteed low price policy that they have. That's at northeastfactorydirect.com. Cleveland.com is what powers us. More sports and less Levine with Mary Kay Cabot on Thursday night, exclusively right here.
Wow! Get Nature's Stone and never replace your garage flooring again. Act now for huge summer savings on our exclusive Nature's Blend Stone, as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Only Nature's Stone eliminates cracked, uneven concrete, and Nature's Stone never peels like cheap paints and coatings. Safe, beautiful garage flooring that's always backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature's Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Birthdays for today. Al Lopez, former Indians manager, took them to the '54 World Series. Gary Collins scored 3 touchdowns in the 1964 championship win over the Baltimore Colts. He also was a punter for that team. Craig Nettles, former Indian. Bob for Apples. That's usually around Halloween time. Danny Shelton, born on this date. And Mitchell Trubisky, fighting for a job in Chicago. Pretty good birthday day, the 20th of August. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Mary Kay Cabot is with us. Mary Kay, is there a player or 2 or even 3 that have totally stood out for you? Maybe somebody you didn't expect, somebody you thought would be on the bubble, and all of a sudden you're saying, why would I think he's on the bubble? This guy should be not only off the bubble, he should be starting. Anybody hitting you like that at any position offensively?
Well, offensively, I was going to start with a defensive player. I was going to mention that Kevin Johnson has looked really, really good on defense, and that's why it was so unfortunate that that he came down with this lacerated liver, because I actually thought he was somebody that could challenge for a little extra playing time. He was going to be on the field a lot anyways as the nickel cornerback, but I've seen him get interceptions. I've seen him force a fumble. He's just been very, very active in this early part of the camp. Denzel Ward's another player. He's gotten 2 interceptions, including one today off Case Keenum in the red zone. So he looks like he's stepped up, just taking the ball away, which I think is important for him. On offense, Kareem Hunt, even before Nick Chubb went out with the concussion, Kareem Hunt was really excelling, shining. He looks light, lean, fast as heck, and he's just playing over the top right now.
Is there, if they were going to have cut down day today, is there somebody who automatically makes the team that you wouldn't have said a week, 10 days ago?
One guy is Porter Gustin. He's been subbing for Myles Garrett at defensive end, and he's like leapfrogged Chad Thomas into that spot. And so that's been kind of interesting to watch that. So he's somebody that, he's not a household name. He's not somebody that we think of, oh, geez, glad they have Porter Gustin on the football team. But he has made a name for himself in these first 7 or 8 days.
All right. What time today will they be signing Clay Matthews III? Any idea?
Well, I've pushed for that for a long time. I don't know. Maybe they'll surprise us and it will actually happen. But as of right now, I haven't heard that it's on the radar. So I still think it's one of those things where they're probably looking to go with some younger talent.
Well, it's getting late. gets late, as Yogi Berra would say, it gets late early around here.
Yes, it is getting late early around here, and they are running out of time. But I don't know. I just that's one that I just don't know that they're going to pursue.
Okay, are we going to hear more linebacker talk? So we can just, what we can do here on this show is just turn the pages over and over, because we talked about linebackers for so long. Can we throw those pages out, or should we hang on to them?
Oh, you can hang on to them. Again, I think it's extremely unfortunate what happened to Mack Wilson, because he was so excited this offseason, so ready to take his game up to the next level. He started 9 games at the end of last season, and I think he was really ready to build on those 9 games. Now, he didn't necessarily grade out very highly on sites like profootballfocus.com or anything like that. So he really did need to step up and prove that, that he can be a force to be reckoned with in the NFL. But he looked like he was ready to make some noise.
Let me go back to Baker Mayfield and what it looks like on the field when he is there. Is there a sense of relief when he completes a long pass, for example, to Beckham? Is there a sense of, no, this is the way it's supposed to be, it's going into shape right now, or is he still feeling around?
Well, he's still feeling around. Again, he really is trying to learn this new offense, and he's implementing new footwork, and everything's different. And some days he's got Jarvis out there, some days he doesn't. Some days he's got Odell. A lot of times you're seeing him throw to Kaderil Hodge. You're seeing him throw to, Donovan Peoples-Jones or JoJo Natson. He's been working with a lot of backup receivers, and he's still getting to know his tight ends as well. I have seen a number of times where he's putting a little bit too much English on the ball still. There are times where he's still overthrowing it. We saw him do that a lot last year. But I think once the footwork becomes a little bit more muscle memory for him, I think he will become more accurate.
What's the, I guess, the body, I guess, between Stefanski and Baker, is there something, body language there, that is better than in the past 2 years with him here? Or is he still feeling it to the point where it's way too early to make that decision?
I see a sense of urgency in Baker. He looks serious to me at times, more serious maybe than we've seen him in the past. There's not a whole lot of goofing around and joking around. I mean, he looks like he means business. A lot of times he will come off, if something didn't go right, he'll come off. He's consulting with Kevin Stefanski, and he's consulting a fair amount with Case Keenum. Those guys are helping each other out. But he has been a good mentor for Baker Mayfield in terms of just knowing how to put it out there on the field. And right now, again, it is a work in progress. It's not supposed to look like he's in midseason form right now.
216-575-0403. Again, I want to thank all the people who have volunteered time and money for the Parkinson's Walk. It's the virtual Parkinson's Walk, including Mary Kay, who's been terrific through this whole thing. It improves the lives of those with Parkinson's disease. It's Pals in Motion, and for people who are suffering from Parkinson's disease and the people taking care of them, the caregivers. It's a very important project. My team's name is Moving More with Less, and you can contact them by going to events.beinmotion.org, events.beinmotion.org. Sunday, September 13th is the day of the event. It won't conflict with the game against the Ravens because of the time, but if you're interested in helping out, we're not asking for a lot of money or time, just to be a part of it. That's all we're really asking. You got $5, $10, we'll be happy to take it. If you can't afford anything, people there who use the facilities of Be in Motion, they need it, and you people have been terrific. A lot of people joining in from our show, and we appreciate that very much. It improves the lives of those with Parkinson's and their families. The team name is Moving More with Less. That's who you can contact at events.beinmotion.org. We'll come back in a moment. More Sports and Les Levine is powered by cleveland.com. Mary Kay Cabot with us on Thursday night.
We're living in uncertain times, but you don't have to put your future on hold. At Tri-C, you can move ahead while staying safe and saving money. The majority of fall classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your 4-year plans have changed, check out Tri-C's programs and resources, because Tri-C is where futures begin.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Brown's Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get text sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Lobby, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week, and it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a Football Insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
Hi, welcome back to More Sports and Les Levine. Les, Mary Kay, oftentimes the difference between an average NFL team and a good NFL team is that one player who can give that team a little something extra. Mary Kay, I've heard you mention before that Kareem Hunt could be that player. Brent Zableski of Bleacher Report agrees with you on that. Kareem Hunt this year under Kevin Stefanski should receive a heavier role due to his run-heavy scheme. Also, wide receivers coach Chad O'Shea has hinted that he could possibly get some work at the wide receiver group. So Les, Mary Kay, what kind of role do you think Kareem Hunt could get? And Mary Kay, looking to ask from you, you've been with the team through the first week of NFL training camp. How have you seen Kareem Hunt used in Kevin Stefanski's offense so far?
Well, he's been running the ball a lot more lately because Nick Chubb is out with a concussion. But if Nick Chubb were in there, then Kareem Hunt would be used a lot more in the passing game. And that is the role that is carved out for him this season, to be able to be on the field with Nick Chubb at times and sometimes without, but maybe appearing with him on the field and either being in the slot or split out wide or just catching the ball out of the backfield. So I think that's the way they're going to do it. That is how they will find enough balls to go around for both Nick Chubb and Kareem, is to use Kareem in the passing game.
All right, I want you to mark this down as the dumbest question ever asked of you, and that is there too much talent in those positions? Did they overload on the tight end department? Are Landry and Odell Beckham, are they the same player? Is there too much riches here?
Well, first of all, Landry and Beckham really are not the same player. I mean, Odell's more of a deep threat kind of a guy. And, Landry, you think of him catching more of the intermediate type pass and maybe like taking that for more yardage and things like that. But so those guys, their roles don't necessarily overlap. So I don't think so there. As far as the tight ends are concerned, in this offense, you really can't have too many really good tight ends because They will play 2 and sometimes 3. As far as the running backs are concerned, that is the one place where you might think they have a little bit of an embarrassment of riches, because you've got 2 guys, one that won the rushing title, one that almost won the rushing title last year. That's a lot of talent at the running back position. But because Kareem Hunt can be used so much in the passing game, there is a way to divide it up and make it work.
Is that why one of the reasons David Njoku was talked back into staying? I mean, my guess is he didn't get an offer anywhere near what he wanted, but the fact that it's a tight end offense, that the more the merrier.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if he can go out there and consistently catch the football, which he's got to be able to do, if he can do that, if he can find that really good connection with Baker Mayfield, which Baker seems to be developing really well with Austin Hooper right now, if he can get that going with Baker, then he has a chance to be that second tight end. If he can't get that going, then Harrison Bryant is going to have an opportunity to leapfrog him and move ahead of him. And I think that might have been the thing that he was concerned about, and thought maybe he saw the writing on the wall and maybe he should find greener pastures. But I don't know if he can.
You just mentioned Hooper. Are there any an inordinate amount of drop balls out there during practice, or is it about what you would expect it to be?
No, there's not a whole lot of drops. No, there are not a lot of drops. It's just not as sharp as it will be right now. There are times where I saw one the other day that, Baker overthrew Hooper a little bit, like put a little bit too much heat on the ball, and it went off of Hooper's hands. And those are the kinds of things where they have to find the right touch. They have to find, the right chemistry and the right rhythm. Baker needs to figure out where the receivers like to have the ball, placed on their shoulder, their body, whatever. They just need to find out the nuances of each other. And it's also a very precision offense. I mean, this is not a situation where Odell can just run around and get open like he sometimes likes to do. He's got to be in a spot because Baker is going to throw it to the spot.
Right. When a play like that happens, where you say it went off Hooper a little bit, is there a recognition factor of Baker saying that's on me, or maybe Hooper pointing where he should have been? Is there an understanding, even though they don't complete the pass, does there seem to be an understanding of the one guy knows what the other guy's doing?
Yeah, they do. There's an understanding, and they'll talk about it afterwards. You'll see them consult with each other afterwards. Or the other day when Baker overthrew Odell on a deep ball over the middle when it was pouring rain, Odell kind of pointed to himself to say, that was my bad. And I suspected on that particular day that he didn't think it was wise for him, coming off core muscle surgery, to just go on a full out sprint in the wet grass. So, that might have been a situation of that going on there. But they're talking it through, and that's what I mean about Baker being very serious. He's very workmanlike out there.
How's the hammer doing? He's feeling okay?
No, he's not doing okay. He's been sick for the last 2 days, and it's kind of an undisclosed thing. We're not really sure what's going on with the hammer right now. We do know that he had COVID in July, and that was early on. And then when he showed up for camp, he tested positive negative the first day, and then positive the second day, I think it was. So it's been a little weird that he hasn't been out there, but we just don't know what the situation is with him yet.
Well, you talked earlier about bringing special team guys in. If they brought punters in also then?
Well, they might have to. Now, tomorrow's an off day. As long as he's back on Saturday, it's all systems go, and they don't have to worry about it.
Right. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Mary Kay Cabot is with us. You enjoy her on cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer, of course. Northeast Factory Direct, east, west, and south. The West 140th near the airport. Lakeland Boulevard in Euclid, and Macedonia, that's on Freeway Drive, northeastfactorydirect.com. We'll take a break. We'll come back in a moment. We are powered by cleveland.com.
Replace your basement flooring again. Act now for huge summer savings on our exclusive Nature's Pearl Stone, as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature's Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
This day in sports history, 1920, the American Professional Football Association forms in Canton, Ohio, in what later would become and would be named the National Football League. They didn't televise that. 216-575-0403. Terry Pluto will join us on Monday. Of course, Tuesday, Bud Shaw. Wednesday, the D-Man, Dennis Maniloff. Mary Kay on Thursday. We have a Facebook question of the day. We post it in the morning. You respond to it all day long, and then we read it on the air. We asked this morning, which Browns player do you feel was the best offseason addition? And Aaron Wood says Austin Hooper. Josh Woodard says the easy one is Jack Conklin, obviously, but I'll say Austin Hooper because every other good NFL team has a tight end that lives between the seams for passes, yet the Browns never have had that guy, and or he would drop the ball or just never scheme to their offense until now. I would agree with that. Glenn Berger says Jack Conklin, offensive tackle. The Browns needed help on the offensive line in the worst way. Conklin should be a great addition. Larry Pantages says Andy Janovich at fullback gives protection to Baker and could be a check-down receiver. Maybe Stefanski could use a video bench coach whose job would be to cue up highlights of Jim Taylor, Matt Snell, and John Riggins. Jim Bell says R.J. Goodson, you need veteran leadership on the defense. Our other linebackers, our secondary, are very young. Hard to argue with any of those responses. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Mary Kay Cabot is with us. Mary Kay, at this point of the season, just a couple of weeks away, the working situation, the contract, whatever it is, the agreement by the players and the owners, are they being too lax about this now, or is it full go here, just assuming everything's going to be okay with starting the season on time?
Well, they're testing them every day still. So, and it is kind of amazing to me that there are so few tests that we're hearing about in the NFL. They're not in a bubble. They're going home every night. So it is actually, I think, quite remarkable that the pads went on Monday for all NFL teams, or for the rest of the NFL teams, and that we just haven't heard anything about positive COVID tests. So, I think it's great, and I hope it continues. And, along those same lines, I hope that fans can be in the stands. I hope plenty of fans can be there, that the Browns can have, 14,000 fans, which is about what they want. And I hope it's all systems go.
That 14,000 figure, or 15,000 or whatever, is that each state making that decision? Is that each franchise making it, or is that the league? Obviously, you can't be in at the Meadowlands because they're talking about playing in Syracuse. So for that team, is it about what? I mean, is 14,000 a number the Browns came up with, or all teams were asked to come up with a number?
It's different in every city. Some teams are having no fans whatsoever. The Ravens, I believe, capped it at 7,500, which I think is too few. I don't know why they felt they had to do that. I think the Browns believe that they can safely bring about 14,000 into First Energy Stadium and keep people at safe distances. They've done studies and tried to figure that out. So that is what they are aiming for. So yes, it will be different in every city.
How will they devise the seating arrangement? Is it equal at each side or each section, or do you think for television purposes, because the main cameras look out toward the lake, will they have people on the Browns sideline as opposed to equal on both sides of the field? Or don't you know yet?
You know what? I don't know what the plan is yet, and I don't know, if you can sit with, if you have two people that can go to the game together and sit next to each other, can a husband and wife do that? I don't know what exactly how they're planning on doing it, but they've thought through it, and they believe they have a good, sound plan. They've submitted it to the governor, and they've submitted it to the city of Cleveland, and they are hoping that they get it approved.
Don't you find that interesting that the governor, the mayor, the different people will make decisions on this when there isn't one solid decision that works for everybody? You find that kind of strange?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, there was no manual for how to deal with this. Things came up so quickly, even though it seemed like the NFL had a lot of time to figure things out. It still rolled around pretty fast when you had to think about how can you get, any kind of fans into the stands. So, once again, it will be inconsistent, and I think it will give different teams a home field advantage. Some won't have a home field advantage. And I do feel like it should be uniform across the league, but I just don't think that's possible at this point.
We're going to take a final break and come on back. Mary Kay Cabot, cleveland.com, and the Plain Dealer. More sports and less Levine, powered by cleveland.com.
Wow! Get Nature's Stone and never replace your garage flooring again. Act now for huge summer savings on our exclusive Nature's Blend Stone, as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Only Nature's Stone eliminates cracked, uneven concrete, and Nature's Stone never peels like cheap paints and coatings. Safe, beautiful garage flooring that's always backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature's Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
There you have it, weekend winner edition. That's tomorrow night with Dave Bacon. That's Dan Lobby on the left. A lot of people think it's him on the right. That is not. That's Dave Bacon on the right. 216-575-0403. Terry Pluto will join us on Monday, and Bud Shaw on Tuesday. Mary Kay is with us tonight. Mary Kay, one of the things at the beginning of the year was trying to figure out how they're going to improve the offensive line. So let's talk about Jedrick Wills who's got to learn to play the opposite way. Do you notice that he's picking it up day by day, or is that going to be a problem for a while?
Well, once again, I think he's coming up the learning curve. You see certain things here and there, where, you'll see that he needs to come back and have a little conversation about how maybe that didn't go right. But I think the unfortunate part for him about the first 3 days in pads is that he didn't have Myles Garrett to go up against. And I think
just
that's,
to get himself better, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, iron sharpens iron. And if you can get ready to go against Myles Garrett, then you're pretty much ready for almost anything in the NFL. 3 out of the 14 padded practices so far, he has not had Myles Garrett. And today in team drills, no pads. Once again, he didn't have Myles Garrett in the team drills. He's been going up against Porter Gustin. He's been going up, before that, he was going up against Olivier Vernon. And even though those guys are really good, they're not Myles Garrett. I mean, Myles Garrett is one of the highest paid NFL defenders in the league for a reason. And Jed needs that to get ready.
All right. Does it hurt? Does it hurt Myles for him not being out there, or is he in a position where he can just work at his own pace and everybody's happy?
For the most part, I think he can work at his own pace and everybody's happy. He is in a new defense. He is in a new scheme, so he does have things to learn. But I don't think it hurts him as much as it's a little bit of a setback for Jed.
Jack Conklin, how's he fitting in?
So far, so good. He wasn't out there today, and we were trying to figure out what the deal was. As it turns out, he was just getting a scheduled day of rest, but he wasn't even, out on the field anywhere. They just kind of let him not even have to be out there. So, they have a plan for everybody, and, so far he looks great.
Okay, games are coming up, and they're coming up quickly. What's the next week or so? What do you look for in, as far as the training camp is concerned?
Well, I think the next week, I think it'll be good to get Nick Chubb back. He should be back fairly soon. I think it will be good for Myles Garrett to ease himself back into team drills and get in those 11-on-11s with pads on, so that, he can get better and he can get Jed better. So I think that's all good. And then I think they just need to continue to put it together. I think that when they have the day off tomorrow, I think that, that they're going to, things will sink in. Sometimes you get away from it for a day and things, the light bulbs go on a little bit, especially for some of the younger guys. So I expect when they come back on Sunday and Monday, it might look a little sharper.
All right. Can I ask you for a favor?
Yes.
Okay. It was nice of you to give up part of your time with the Cleveland Browns and come here. But your priorities are not quite correct. I need you to help me on the programming part, and we didn't have this as part of our pre-show meeting, but I need you in every show to use the word truncate, like the truncated season in baseball and truncated here without exhibition games. We're trying to get the word truncate to be used in our vocabulary more on a day-to-day basis.
Well, as far as the Cleveland Browns are concerned, fortunately for them and for Mack Wilson, it looks like his season may have been truncated.
Excellent, excellent. And if you have any words you want to use, when you're driving home on a Thursday, you're driving home before you come to do the show, if you need a word, I'll be happy. We have Brian now who works on camera, so we got extra people.
I love words.
All right, that'll do it for us. Thanks for truncating us today, and we'll see you next Thursday night. Mary Kay Cabot is terrific, and we'll see her then. Tomorrow night, weekend winners edition. That's Dave Bacon with that, along with Dan Lobby. And Monday night, Terry Pluto will join us. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.